Good evening, everyone. Welcome and good evening on this 4th of March at Adams High School Auditorium. We had a closed session that began at 3:45. We're just now getting here. So I'm now calling this meeting to order. Ms. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Yes, good afternoon. Mr. John Anella,
Here.
Ms. Stephanie Ball. Present. Mr. Mark Costello,
Here.
Ms. Kate Lee. Here. Ms. Jeanette McCullough. Present. Ms. Leslie Wesley. Here. Dr. Sturt Green.
Here. Where is Ms. Hernandez?
Where's her?
She's behind the curtain.
She's like the whiz or behind the curtain. She's right here.
You have to be here.
We have a quorum, and we can now move to the adoption of the agenda. It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Hernandez, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Ms. Ball,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. McCullough.
Aye.
Ms. Wesley.
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Aye. It's unanimous. The motion to approve the agenda has passed. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. And now it's time for recognitions and superintendent announcements. So it's over to you, Dr. Cummings.
Thank you, Dr. Green. First, we want to begin with a moment of silence. A long-term administrative assistant at Wilson Primary has passed, Dolores Kazarowski. And so we want to say thank you to her family for her service and honor her with a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. And now I'd like to ask Board Secretary, Ms. Kate Lee, if she would read the School Social Worker Week proclamation, followed by Ms. Stephanie Stewart Bridges is going to come introduce the social workers that we have. And if anyone would like to speak, we want to make sure we take the opportunity to recognize just their outstanding work and how much we've needed them all the time, but specifically in the past month. Ms. Lee.
Yes, thank you. Whereas social work is a profession truly dedicated to helping people. Whereas the primary mission of social work is to enhance human well-being and help meet the basic and complex needs of all people. Whereas social workers put a particular focus on helping people who are vulnerable, oppressed, or living in poverty. Whereas social workers follow a code of ethics that calls on them to fight social injustice and respect the dignity and worth of all people. Whereas social workers meet people where they are and help people and communities reach their full potential. Whereas the social work profession for more than a century has worked to improve this society, with social workers playing a role in establishing a minimum wage, Social Security, and Medicare, and working to ensure equal rights for women, African Americans, and people who are LGBTQIA2S+. Whereas social workers work in all facets of our society, including schools, hospitals, community organizations, the military, mental health centers, social work agencies, corporations, and local, state, and federal government. Whereas social workers are on the front lines in helping this nation solve pressing social problems, including an increased demand for mental health services, an opioid addiction crisis, and economic inequality. Whereas social workers are in high demand, with some states reporting shortages in social work staffing, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicting social work will be one of the fastest growing professions in our nation during this decade. Whereas the 2024 Social Work Month theme, Empowering Social Workers, embodies the need for society to support social workers so they can continue to do the life-affirming work they do and help address societal needs. Whereas social workers in turn empower people, communities, and our nation, helping everyone achieve their full potential. Now, therefore, in recognition of the numerous contributions made by America's social workers, Todd Cummings, Superintendent of the South Bend Community School Corporation, proclaims the month of March 2024 as National Social Work Month and calls upon all citizens to join the National Association of Social Workers and the South Bend Community School Corporation in celebration and support of the social work profession. Attested to this day, March 4th, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. the new Chief of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and almost Dr. Stephanie Stewart Bridges is here. So if you'd like to introduce who you have with us, and then we'd like to take a picture with everyone that you brought, including yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings, Dr. Green, and the school board. I'm going to ask the South Bend Community School Corporation school social workers to please come join me at the podium. Today, or March 3rd, marks School Social Work Week. So along with this being School Social Work Month, we have a week to kind of honor and celebrate all the great work that our school social workers continue to do. We have had a very challenging start to the year, and they have been amazing in supporting our students in every way possible. Empowering social workers is the best thing that we have for this year because they really do a really hard job day in and day out, creating an opportunity for our students to have everything they need. When we passed the referendum and we were able to put a social worker in every building, that was the best thing that we could have done. But I would dare say that we definitely need more. With current trends, how things are changing, students are having even more needs coming out of the pandemic. It would benefit us greatly to be able to have some additional support for our buildings, but also to create an opportunity for them to further the work that they already do. I'm grateful for everything they've done. They've been an awesome support, not just to me, but to each other. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all. Does anyone want to say anything? But we want to make sure we thank you for your service and everything you do. Come on up. We'd like to take a picture with you.
We're going out front.
And then we can just stagger it, cover it on top.
And a Miller Lite. Well, Todd, you don't drink better.
All right, and while we're transitioning, I see the awesome principal of Clay, Riley, and Adams. Do I see I don't see Washington. If you'd like to, while we're transitioning for the Scholastic Awards, let's go ahead and do those now. Ms. Kim, you are welcome to begin. Thank you for being there first.
Okay. The Scholastic Art and Writing Awards were founded in 1923 and for more than a century have inspired bold ideas in creative teens throughout the country. These awards are presented by the Alliance for Young Artists and Writers. The Alliance is a 501(c) nonprofit organization whose mission is to identify students with exceptional artistic and literary talent and present their remarkable work to the world through the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. The awards give students opportunities for recognition, exhibition, publication, and scholarships. In 2023, students across the United States and Canada entered more than 300,000 original works in 28 different categories of art and writing. Entries are selected for awards without the knowledge of the student's gender, age, ethnicity, or hometown by some of the foremost leaders in the visual and literary arts. Jurors look for works that exemplify the art's core values: originality, skill, and the emergence of a personal voice or vision. All entries are first considered regionally for Gold Key, Silver Key, Honorable Mention, American Voices nominee, and American Visions nominee awards. These are presented to students along with celebration ceremonies and exhibitions in each region. The Gold Key Award entries are automatically considered for national awards, including gold medal, silver medal, and scholarship awards. While I don't have the stats for our South Bend districts in front of me for all of our schools, we did very well this year, and I will say South Bend had one of the highest collection of entries across our region. The awards program opens Friday and will be at the Art Museum, so if you have a chance, go see it, and has representation from Clay, Riley, and Adams High Schools. As for Clay's stats, we had 206 Scholastic Awards represented from Clay High School. Of these, 31 gold awards will go on to nationals. We have 48 silver awards, 127 honorable mention awards. So we are very proud of the representation our students gave for, along with our 4 art teachers. So I have 1 student and 1 art teacher with me tonight, but then I'll turn this over to the next.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. You have a student with you, correct? Let's do them all, and then all the students that are with you, we can all take a photo at once.
All right. Also for Riley High School with our Scholastic Awards winner, we do also have 1 student with us tonight, as well as 2 art teachers. So I can wait to say the name as Mr. Seitz come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings and School Board. Mr. Schreiber did an excellent job of explaining everything to you, so I will not say anything. And if we have any, do we want all the students to come up from all the schools? Okay, all the students from all the schools that were won art awards, please come up to the podium. I'm going to say what you want.
Thank you. My name's Christina. I won 1 gold for graphic design. I won a silver for photography. And I think I won like 3 honorable mentions.
Hello, my name is Alfredo Siqueiros Gonzalez. I won several awards, got a golden portfolio, and I really appreciate the CTE program you guys have for and all the access for like graphic design and all that, because like I am so much further as an artist than I was several years ago thanks to these programs. I want to give special credit to Mr. Murray. Clay, he was an incredible mentor to me, and I appreciate all that the program could do for me in expanding my art and all its opportunities it has offered me. Thank you.
So I have Addison Smith with me. She is a sophomore. I'm so excited about what she has to come into the art world and the Scholastic world. But she did a painting where she got silver key, and the painting that she did was Halloween leftovers. I think I got a hold of the leftovers. So thank you. Thank you.
All right, if you and your principals would come up, let's take a photo.
like to see those days. High school is smaller than you.
Believe it or not.
All right, and while we are transitioning, we're going to wait until they're all here, Mr. Henderson, but we at least want to acknowledge the Riley High School swim team. We're proud of them. We're grateful for what they did, and so we will bring them all back and honor them. But now, Mr. Seitz is going to do the Adams High School girls swim team state qualifiers.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings, School Board President Dr. Green, the rest of the school board. So we have 4 different groups to honor tonight here from Adams. We figured since it was our home field tonight, we'd load it up. So I would first like to welcome the girls swim team and Coach Josh Scooby to talk about their season a little bit, and we have some state qualifiers.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings and school board. I'd like to introduce our squad that made it down to the state meet. Over here, girls. This is Addie Zakeli. She was the sectional champion in the and sectional record in the 100 backstroke. She also rebroke her 200 IM school record. Kate here is qualified to the state meet in diving. She finished 17th, I believe, in her first appearance. We have along with Sophia Clark, Willa Kirchhoff, and Daniela Morales-Garbe, and missing is Addie Rabbit. They qualified for the 200 freestyle relay in the state meet, and they finished 20th. So we had a pretty successful season for the girls this year.
Good. Congratulations. All right, while we are transitioning, we'll ask the Adams High School Quiz Bowl to join us. Quiz Bowl.
To introduce our Quiz Bowl sponsor, our coach, Mrs. Cecilia Stanton Verduzco, and the entire Quiz Bowl team. And so on top of the league and tourney champions and teams qualifying for nationals, we actually have a little bit of news from a competition this past weekend. So I'll let her share the news.
So first, I would like to congratulate our amazing varsity team for finishing third in the state this past weekend, which is amazing. Our Quiz Bowl team has been breaking records every year for the past 3 years. As their coach, it is amazing to see the incredible commitment and dedication our students have put the past few years. This year alone, we have set multiple records. First, our varsity team finished the highest they have ever finished at the state level, finishing third and giving the second place team a run for their money. Second, we are the only school in the state of Indiana to qualify 2 teams for the national competition in Atlanta, which shows the strength of our program. Third, 5 of our students have qualified for individual nationals in Chicago, which is an incredible achievement both for those students and our team. Our 5 individual national qualifiers are senior Michael Camilleri, senior Jonah Arsadon, who could not be here tonight, sophomore Jesse Rabbit, sophomore Mary McVeigh, and sophomore Espen Lupus. There it is. All in all, it has been an absolute pleasure to coach these kids and to watch them grow as a team, accomplishing incredible goals and breaking records for our school. Our Quiz Bowl team is simply amazing. We also have a strong JV team that competed extremely well during our regular season and tournaments. The future is bright. And for a few final words, one of our 2 senior 4-year seniors is here, Michael Camilleri, and I'm going to let him speak a little bit.
Hello, I'm Michael Camilleri. I'm a 4-year Quiz Bowl player for Adams, and being one of the only 2 people to do it for all 4 years gives me a unique perspective, coming from quarantine when we were playing with masks on and we had to use our phones to buzz in, to now being the 3rd place team in the state with being able to podium and competing with Carmel, Park Tudor, Culver, Heron, all schools who have a lot of resources, but we use our resources very well. And Quiz Bowl, a lot of what you do in the classroom translates to Quiz Bowl. So being able to have an education here at Adams and in the SBCSC and seeing that translate, I think is really a testament to our corporation and what we're able to do. So thank you to Mrs. Stanfordusco for helping develop this program, and thank you to everyone on the school board and who's a part of this corporation for giving us this education and a chance to show it to some big schools like Carmel, Park Tudor, et cetera. So thank you all so much, and I'm excited to see what happens with the program in the coming years.
Nice job, man.
Good job.
Great speech.
All right, Mr. Seitz, let's transition to the Science Olympiad.
We'd like to invite them up, coaches Drew Rossi and Jeff Kindlin. And this is a great example of Um, classes in the classes in during the school day, then that translate to extracurricular. So this is really a co-curricular with what we've been able to do with our science research class during our 7th hour is now translated into some fantastic work by our Science Olympiad team. So we have captains talking. All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jillian Kaufman, and I'm a second-year captain of Science Olympiad. I've been competing since I was actually in middle school. I did it for LaSalle, so this would be about my 5th year of doing this. And all I want to say is our team has put in so much effort. Most of our teammates come in every single day to work on events, even if they're not even their events. Everyone's always constantly participating, putting in the work, and it obviously shows. Last year, we broke a school record by coming in 3rd in state, which is one of the highest we've ever done. And this year, we hope to break another school record by coming in 2nd. I would just like to again thank all of our coaches, especially Ms. Rossi, Mr. Kindelan, and every one of our other coaches, because they put in so much time and effort into our sport. And obviously, we've done so well, and we're so excited to go to state on March 23rd. Thank you.
Our goal is to come in first at state. I'm just saying.
Anyone else? Was that it? All right, good. Let's take a photo.
Working our way down the list.
I think I'm gonna stand.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Mr. Seitz, we're transitioning to the Adams mock trial group.
Yes, I would like to invite the mock trial team members that are here up to the podium along with, I believe we have coaches Cheryl Moody and Elijah Grammer. Is that right? And so it's really neat because Elijah graduated from Adams and was in mock trial as a student at Adams. And so now he's given back as a coach. We were able a few weeks ago to host the mock trial regional here at Adams on a Saturday. And so we ended up winning that event, and we had a few teams qualify for our state competition. So who's talking from mock trial? Coach Grammer or Coach Moody, one of the two? Okay, all right.
So Adams actually participated in 2 different regionals. We had a team that placed 3rd at the regional here at Adams, and we had teams that placed 1st and 3rd at a regional at Hammond, which means we have 3 teams advancing to state, and all 3 should do extremely well, but I won't make any specific predictions.
Nice job. Congratulations. Let's take a photo. And while we transition, I didn't see any parents here this evening, but I want to make sure that I thank the parents at Clay, at Riley, and Washington, and Adams. Thank you for choosing South Bend Schools, and thank you for sending your students. On May 7, our primary day, the district will be having an e-learning day. So your student will be e-learning on May 7, and we will put this on our social media. However, the zone will not be doing e-learning on primary day, but they will be making it up on June 3rd. So they'll be canceling their record day at the end. We'll make sure that both those go out clearly on social media and on our website. Our next board work session will be Monday, March 11, in the cafeteria at Riley High School. And the subject will be the Career Center and a presentation and answering community questions. And then the next board meeting will be Monday, March 18, back in the administration building. And Dr. Green, that is the end of recognitions and superintendent announcements.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings. So now we're on to this evening's academic focus, communications update. Welcome, Mr. Andrew Getz and Mr. Blaine Yankee.
And I also want to add, also joining them will be she'll be doctor in 2 weeks, the 17th, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Ms. Sarita Stevens, who manages communications.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm really thankful to be here this evening. I'm thankful to be with the members of the board and having an opportunity to talk about some of the tremendous opportunities here at South Bend Schools. Of course, my name is Andrew Getz. I am the Director of Communications. I am just about 3 weeks on the job, and I am so happy that I chose to come to South Bend. And I just want to share that with each one of you. You've all been so welcoming to me, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity. And I'd like to introduce, before I go any further, my assistant, Blair Yankee, who's here this evening. If you'd like to say a couple words as well, Blair, that'd be just fine.
I would just say I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm excited and look forward to getting acquainted with you all and learning about South Bend Schools and just making an impact in any way that I can.
And I just have to say, you may have the record this evening for fastest new employee who has to do an agenda, because your start date isn't actually until Monday, but you were here to watch what was happening, and here you are. So thank you.
Yes, hats off and thanks to Blair. And of course, thank you to Sarita for being here this evening to support our communications agenda. Blair, you're welcome to sit down. Thank you. Of course, this evening we don't have Linnea Martinez present with us. Linnea is our communications coordinator. She is under the weather, so she is remote this evening, but just wanted to, of course, shout out Linnea and thank you to Linnea and Blair for being part of my team. Like I said, I am ecstatic. I'm ecstatic about being a part of the South Bend team, and I know there is amazing, untapped potential for us from a communications perspective. Working with Dr. Cummings, being present now, this is my second board meeting. I am very excited about what's next for South Bend, and I will lay out here just briefly my plan over the first 30, 60, and 90 days of my appointment here with South Bend Schools. I would be remiss in my position to not conduct a comprehensive department assessment upon my arrival. And I'm so thankful, like I said, I can't say it enough. I am very thankful for the amazing staff on board at South Bend Schools who have made my onboarding process seamless I'm excited for the great partnerships I have within Sarita's office and working, of course, with Dr. Cummings and the rest of the assistant superintendent team. Moving forward, we needed to initiate internal and external stakeholder meetings. I need to be out in our schools, and that I have, and I've loved it. I've loved it. I've loved going. I visited all of our high schools the first week on the job, and meeting our principals, meeting our teachers, interacting with students. I spent about a decade working in higher education. And those times for me were some of the most memorable of my working career. And why were they memorable moments for me? Because they were opportunities to spotlight academic excellence. And that's what I see when I go to our schools here at South Bend. I see academic excellence, and I see stories to tell for our teachers, stories to talk about our clubs. We saw the young folks that were here, exceptional across the board, whether it be the quiz team, whether it be the mock trial team. There are stories to tell here in South Bend, and I've been out in the schools meeting people, getting to know our teachers, getting to know our administrators, getting to know our media members, of course, and working and building relationships. That's been my first 30 days, which are dramatically coming to a close here very soon. 60 days, I'll move on really quickly. We're going to go ahead, we're going to implement strategies, we're going to enhance our communications channels. We are going to focus on social media. We are going to turn up the dial from 10 to 11, and we are going to get out there. We are going to connect with people. We're going to connect with people in an authentic way, a transparent way, and we are going to tell amazing stories. And we are going to use the communications tools of the 21st century. And I am so very excited about that. We are developing a content calendar as we speak for the months of March and April, a content calendar that will dictate how we move forward, the stories we're going to tell, the amount of time and energy we're going to spend, and how we can best direct those energies for efficiency. I believe in efficiency. I believe in efficient processes. And that's something that I'm going to make sure as the communications director for South Bend Schools that I put into action. And I walk the talk, of course. And of course, we have to go ahead and we have to think about defining our strategic plan, our strategic marketing plan for our students. Of course, we have graduation coming up. We need to be engaging with our media partners, with our earned media. We need to be reaching out. You'll see very soon, I am ecstatic about the new billboards that are going to be going up throughout our community, talking about our soaring graduation rates, some of the best in a decade. I want to talk about those. I want to tout our success here at South Bend. We're going to roll out a targeted communications plan, and not just any plan. We're not just going to throw everything against the wall here. It's going to be measurable, because you cannot value success, you cannot measure success if there's nothing to look at and count. So we're going to look at our key performance indicators, our KPIs, our reach, our engagement, our eyes, our minutes on the news, and we're going to find out what success means here at South Bend Schools, here in the communications department. And you know what we're going to do? I am super excited, as you probably can tell, but we're going to work hard. We are going to work extremely hard, and not just be in the South Bend Tribune, and not just be on the local news, but be on the national news, be in the regional news, be in national publications, because we have so many good things going on here at South Bend Schools. We need to make sure we're shouting that from the rooftop so everybody can know what's going on. I spoke a moment ago about social media, 21st century tool, a 21st century tool. And across the board, it's underutilized, but it has to be used because we are our own. You can rely on the newspapers, you can rely on the television, you can rely on our media partners, but we have to be our best spokesperson. And we control that through social media, and we control that through our website, which I'll be getting to here in a moment. We're going to enhance engagement, authentic engagement across social media. Authenticity, transparency. Those are things that will be discussed on social media. We will have good, authentic conversations. It's a two-way street. That's the best part about social media. It's not a television program. You're not turning on the 6 o'clock news. You're able to engage. You're able to inform your audience. And I love it. We're going to implement the analytics. We're going to use modern analytics to gauge, like I said, those KPIs, those key performance indicators. We're going to follow those. And those are going to dictate how we're going for success. I am very excited to talk about our website redesign. I know the website is the front door, the front porch to South Bend schools. Sometimes it's the first opportunity a potential parent has when they're learning about South Bend schools. I know as a potential employee of South Bend schools, this was the first place I went to learn about South Bend and learn about South Bend schools. I am excited that in mid-May, you can expect the launch of a new redesigned website. And that website is going to be exceptional. It's going to focus on accessibility. It's going to focus on ease of access. It is going to be a modern facelift for our website, and we are really pumped about it. And it's not most of all, to me, as a user of our website and to our public, is that this redesign and this relaunch of our South Bend Schools website will not interrupt the current user experience. We're not going to leave people high and dry when they're trying to reach critical information. Moving right along, let's talk about strategic marketing approach. I talked about it, soaring graduation, soaring literacy rates. We are talking about enhanced student safety and, of course, a dedication to student safety and keeping our students safe, leadership in career and technical education, and, of course, dual credit attainment. These are some standout items that we need to focus on from a communications perspective to tell an outstanding story about South Bend schools, a story that sets South Bend schools apart, sets them apart from other schools here in the region, and puts us on a national map, on a national stage. Like I said, we don't want just regional recognition, statewide recognition. We want national recognition for South Bend schools. That's the expectation for me as the communications director. Anything less, I'm not reaching my goals. In the news, any of you who've been checking the news, you'll see stories about South Bend schools. We are working on building those strong relationships with our media partners and media organizations. We're proactively reaching out to them. We are monitoring where we are going. And we are going in a good direction. We want to increase transparency, accountability. We are going to communicate in a two-way fashion. We are going to be transparent with parents and students and community members. We are going to regularly update. We are going to engage with newsletters, social media. We are going to be on the news. And we are going to be making an impact with our communications and really telling the story of South Bend students, teachers, staff. Lastly, I'm going to focus, this is wrapping it up, so thank you so much for your patience. Lastly, but certainly not least, continued focus on academic excellence, student safety, career readiness. Academic excellence, student safety, career readiness. We have safe schools, we have excellent schools, and we are preparing our students for the workforce of tomorrow, exploring innovative communication practices. We are not going to be the status quo. We are going to use technology and marketing strategies that are at the forefront, the innovative forefront, the cutting edge, strengthening partnerships with stakeholders and community members. And I'm really thankful for all of your time this evening. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for hearing about how we are going to transform communications for South Bend schools and put our students, our teachers, our staff on the map nationally.
Really want to add that in putting together the communications team, we did a national search. And we did that intentionally because we think it's important to draw talents from everywhere. Andrew, let me nickname you. Andrew emerged as the top candidate from Racine. And also Blair emerged as the top candidate as an assistant from Elkhart. Which is not so national, however, he at least knows how to navigate the media scene in this community. We're going to focus on the tremendous upside of the South Bend Community Schools. So because all of the things that we're dealing with, and we can't deal with it as individuals, we have to deal with this as a team, as everybody's voice. What we can't let get lost is that our students leave with dual credits. Our students leave knowing kind of what they want to do. Our students are selected to be on a posse to go to Purdue, one of the best schools in the country, to receive their education. We have people calling us, asking us specifically, how do we do the teacher vacancy thing? Because we collapsed and we made sure that we got people interested. We currently have 4 transition to teaching programs where people are coming back to the profession. So it is really, really important that we embrace as much positivity as we can, and we push that positivity out with intentionality. We have to do it on purpose because we don't want the good stories to get lost in the difficult things that we're dealing with as well. We know that that stuff is out there, but we also want to make sure that our teachers, our parents, our students get their acknowledgements and get the clapping of the hands and the standing ovations for all of the hard things that they're doing every single day. So I'd like to thank you for listening to us on the communications team. We're going to stay hopelessly optimistic. We are going to always look at the bright side and always push that out there because it just makes life easier for the community and easier for us and what we do for the generations, because the teaching profession really is maintaining the generations. So our work is like, it's infinite. So that's why we have to stay hopelessly optimistic. And so you're gonna see a lot of positive messages and embracing everybody who has a positive message so we can push that out there. And that's not to say that we're not gonna deal with the difficult stuff too. We'll deal with that too, but we wanna make sure that we get our positives out there. So I wanna thank this team. And I want to thank Andrew for coming in with just such a smiley face. He made me happy. So thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Dr. Stevens, and thank you, team, the new communications team. I think it's impressive, Dr. Stevens, that we were able to get such a fine team in a national search. I'd now like to ask the board if they have questions or they'd like to make some comments. Mr. Castillo.
Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm. We'll see how long it lasts. I hope it'll last a long time. Just a couple comments for you. Check the website of some of the buildings, school buildings that we have. Some of the data that we have out there is irrelevant now. We have principals who haven't been in some of those buildings in 5 years. So we need to get those things updated and changed because there's many parents and other people in South Bend that utilize those sites for their own interest, okay? The other thing in the way of communication is outside message boards, bulletin boards, outside the schools. Some of them haven't been used in 2 or 3 years. We have to reintroduce those things to, I think, some people in those buildings so that we have, might not be a daily message for people, but at least it's a message of interest and concern for their child that I think spreads the word of a very positive image. So those are the couple of things I have observed recently that I think that needs to be changed in order for us to have a better system to communicate with parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. Others? Ms. Walton.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Green. Just a couple of comments about what I would hope to see in communication. Of course, we're not the end-all be-alls here with opinions, but I did want to provide that. I think it would be beneficial if on our landing page or landing pages that there's an opportunity for students, parents, teachers, community members to provide their feedback to us. And that seems to be something that is missing. And I know it's been talked about in several different ways at several different times about how we get citizen input and stakeholder input. And I think that if we can do something that's front-facing, and that's one of our first places where people are looking is at our website, is that we do something there. And of course, if we're going to provide any kind of mechanism to provide feedback, then that does necessitate analytics on that, you know, the number and type of concerns, and ultimately, you know, how those pieces of feedback and information are addressed. So I'd like to see some kind of feedback component, some kind of, you know, forward-facing piece on our website. And then my second, I don't know if it's a point or a question or what have you, is I know that the zone has some contracted services with us. And I think website, you all have to check, but I think website is part of that. So just being inclusive or having the conversations with the zone leadership about how the pages might change together, or maybe they change differently, I don't know, but just have the conversation, pay into shared services for website stuff. I could be mistaken, but I think there's some kind of relationship there. So just, if we are deliberate about making sure that they're included in the conversation of how that moves forward. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I just want to thank both Chair Ball and Chair Costello for your input. Thank you so much. And that will definitely be, I've taken notes and we'll make some changes and adjustments. Thank you so much.
Well, we typically have the opportunity to hear from visitors on action items, but this evening we do not have anyone signed up for action items. We also have the opportunity to invite comments on other items. And I'll just read the typical statement that we often share. At regular meetings, the public is invited to address the board for 3 minutes regarding items not posted on the agenda. Individuals may only speak once during the section of the agenda. Speakers shall properly identify themselves after they approach the podium by stating their name and address for the record. Personnel issues are not to be addressed during open sessions of the school board. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a person's statement if the statement becomes personally directed, abusive, or obscene. Please come to the podium if you wish to speak.
And Dr. Green, I'm looking for help from you. I got a story to tell. And I got a whole list of all the characters that are in there. If you want to listen to it, please give me a call. Thank you.
Be happy to talk to you. Anybody else like to address the board?
Did you see this year's Budweiser commercial during the Super Bowl with Clydesdales? That team of 8 horses, 2,000 pounds apiece, are guided by one guy holding the reins, 8 straps of leather. It's amazing. You should see the YouTube footage of them. The first game after COVID, everyone standing and cheering at this team of horses as they prance around Busch Stadium in their finery. What a paycheck. Imagine the training. Have any of you been to Grant's Farm, where the young Clydesdales get their early training? It's outside St. Louis. It's worth the drive down Highway 44. Now imagine the superintendent at Grant's Farm decides to adopt the South Bend Community School Corporation's disciplinary code of conduct to train the young horses. Applying the manual, the reins would be tied around a hook on the wagon. The teacher would not be allowed to use them. Instead, only positive verbal commands would be allowed. Picture this, young team of horses all hitched together, unable to get away. When one gets bored and decides to misbehave, fighting, kicking, jumping around. Can you imagine the fear the other horses must feel? The reins remain tied to a hook on the wagon. All the teacher can do is hang on for dear life for 15 minutes before he can attempt to complete the detailed full-page disciplinary form. Can you see the neighbors passing by, witnessing this poor teacher trying to fill out a form, pressing hard enough for all the copies while 8 horses are careening around the pasture out of control? Finally, the principal from the stable appears and tries to calm the horses. They settle a bit, and after he reads the form and asks for a few revisions, he can do no more than take the form to the superintendent at the main office. The horses know the principal has no authority to pull on the reins either. So as soon as he walks away, the horses are out of control again. Now, the superintendent comes out and grabs the reins. He tugs on a few and throws a sugar cube to his favorite. The horses watch as the only person in charge returns to his office, and they are back out of control. This happens over and over and over until the horses cannot be hitched or become a team. They will never experience Busch Stadium to receive their paycheck. Who will want a 2,000-pound uncontrollable horse? No one. They used to turn unwanted horses into glue at the glue factory.
30 seconds.
I don't know if this is still the case. What a loss. What a crazy idea I had using South Bend School's code of conduct for horses. Just as crazy for our kids. Thank you.
Repeatedly, the public sees literacy, school safety, and increased graduation rates as your key talking points. Is that what parents are really asking for, or is that your take on what they want? So I've been doing some work asking parents randomly out in the public, what do they see as the 3 big issues facing South Bend schools? I found out some interesting comments. Graduation rates, highest in years, and audited by the IDOE. But looking at the audit, there's some amazing statistics. And yes, I got the audit from the IDOE. How can you call it a fair audit when South Bend Schools picks the sample students? The samples were very small. So are the graduation rates being inflated to make Dr. Cummings look good, or a marketing ploy that's phony? The same class, the state says, the class that just graduated 2 years ago, the state said only 35% were reading at math and we're doing math and reading at grade level. So are we graduating kids unprepared for the jobs or whatever they want to do to make a livable wage? Are we leading our kids to a road of poverty? Even the state says our students make less after 5 and 10 years than most. If the governor signs a 3rd grade retention, how many kids will be held back? What percentage of South Bend kids are proficient at math and reading at this level? Parents want their kids educated and prepared for the next grade and for life, not to look good on a piece of paper. They want their kids safe within a school building, safe from their fellow students, not from outside predators. We all know no building is safe from outside entry. How many fights or altercations happen daily? I have spoken to several parents who say they don't like their kids to see students fighting in the classroom or students attacking the teacher or other school personnel. With nothing else being done, there is no discipline, and sure enough, they come back to the class and it happens again and again. This is turning parents off. As a Washington parent told me on Saturday night, there was a
30
recent
seconds.
in the hall that was an assault. If it happened on the street, it would have been handled differently with charges filed. The lack of discipline and consequences does not bode well for our community. Make it sooner or later that parents will get these ideas and they're going to act away. By the way, I have seen video of the fight at Washington and it's really unbelievable.
my First Amendment right. What I say should not be held against me, my family, or my coworkers. To build on what Stephanie had said about the communication, you might also, with the feedback, leave the feedbacks there, just like Facebook, so people can actually view and review, and possibly even like surveys and stuff like that, how many stars and things like that. Maybe we can build on that too. Because if you put it there and it disappears, other people can't see it. I think other people need to see all that information to see what's there, especially people that might be prospectively coming here and maybe want this to be a school corporation of their choice. So now we're going at the agenda on the terminations. Once again, it was unbelievable to see that 13 out of 16 were resignations. In other words, they were quitting. And when you look at the new hires, it is not keeping up with how many are quitting. So now we go to bill pays, because that's what I'm good at. And that is that every time I look at the bill pays in the agenda, I shake my head, and this one's no exception. International Baccalaureate, $78,000. Is this for how many students? I don't know. People need to know some of this stuff. You have a charge for SSC. It's outsourced maintenance custodial, January and February monthly charges. You got charges for Chartwell at $656,000. Outsourced food service description, monthly operating charges. First student busing at $136,000, and the description is trip to Meyer. I'm assuming it could be Meyer, Michigan, or Meyer's main place in Michigan. JP Morgan, another laundry list of charges. And as I asked before, what are all these for? I would guess they might be credit card charges, but for what, and why is it being taken out of so many accounts to satisfy? You got Purdue Poly at $57,000. Description, spring FY24 students. So is this for 114 students at the $500 agreed upon student rate? Hard to believe, since approval a month ago, that there were that many to leap over. And could there be such a thing as ghost students? Tut Street LLC, $13,500. Description, facility plan messaging. And then here again, like I say, there's more taxpayer money that's being spent on questionable items. This needs to stop, and people need to know what you're actually spending our money on, people. I mean, this referendum money was given to you as a gift, and we have no answers to some of this. We have over $200 million that I don't even see any benefit of.
Anybody else like to address the board? Well, as always, I know I speak for the board that we're grateful that you're willing to come forth and provide the perspectives you do. Seeing as no one else is approaching the podium, then let's move on to the consent agenda. It's recommended that the Board of School Trustees approve the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes under item 8.01, accepting any attached financial reports and statements under item 8.02, approving any attached consolidated registers of claims and distributions of payroll for payment under item 8.03, approving personnel decisions listed on any attached reports under item 8.04, adopting any attached resolutions under item 8.05, which are required to be adopted annually, accepting any gifts for the corporation and approving any fundraisers described in any attached reports under item 8.06, and approving or ratifying any contracts for $50,000 or less listed under item 8.07, of which there are none. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Question. Second Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Wesley and Ms. Ball.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you pull 8.04?
Number 4?
8.04.
all of 8.04. So we'll have a motion.
Second.
Okay. So we'll first vote to approve the consent agenda without 8.04. Mr. Hernandez, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Ms. Ball,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. McCullough. Nay. Ms. Wesley,
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Aye. So the motion passes to approve the consent agenda. Now that the consent agenda has been approved without 8.04, is there any discussion of the motion?
Dr. Green, then we do need a motion now that
Yeah.
8.04, since it's an
We have
individual
motion for
item. So I'll
8.04.
move, so moved.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Mr. Nella? Ms. Wesley, was that Ms. Wesley?
Yes.
Any discussion? Ms. Hernandez, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Ms. Ball,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. McCullough,
Aye.
Ms. Wesley,
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. We've now approved the consent agenda, and we'll move on to action items. 9.01 is the approval of the 2024-25 school year calendar. It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees approve the 2024-25 school year calendar. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you,
Second.
Ms. Leslie. Thank you, Mr. Anella. Ms. Stevens, did you want to talk about the calendar? Please. So first of all, welcome, Dr. Stevens.
Thank you. Not quite. You know, I want to acknowledge President of the NEA, Linda Lucy here, because we did have to work with the NEA to make sure that that the calendar was correct, and also to make that some of their concerns were addressed, and we have done that. And so we did arrive at an agreement that everybody could live with. And so, and that was done, you know, very effectively, and we're moving forward to next year's calendar. So I have nothing else to add except for we did work together on that. And also, Linda, if you like a word, please do. If not. Okay. So just wanted to acknowledge that we did work with NEA to make sure that we had everybody's concerns addressed.
Well, thank you for your hard work. I know this has been a challenge, and thank you, Ms. Lucy, for your willingness to work so collaboratively with Dr. Stevens and others in the administration. Are there any questions for Dr. Stevens? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to make a comment, and from the standpoint that I really, really appreciate the cooperation that the administration took on this agenda item and worked with the NEA, and I think in a very constructive way. And I salute you, Dr. Stevens, and all the NA members, I think, for collaborating and getting this job done. I know it's a very difficult thing because the administration has their views on things, the teachers have their view, and it's very difficult sometimes to compromise, but for some, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. You came together and you came up with something I think very constructive. So I want to, again, thank you very much, and all the members involved with Dr. Cummings here. to work with the teachers on this item. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Casella.
One question.
Yes, Ms. Lee.
It still says draft, like on what I'm looking at. Do we take that off or does that?
We can. So if the board will approve,
Oh, I got
with,
you. Okay.
changes, we'll take the word draft off. Thank you. Good catch.
Thank you. Well, if there are no further questions or comments, then I'll ask Ms. Hernandez to please call the roll.
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Ms. Ball,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. McCullough. Aye. Ms. Wesley.
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Aye. So the motion to approve the calendar passes passes unanimously. And now we'll move on to 9.02, approval of the early literacy grant. Let me first read the motion. It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees approve the early literacy grant. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Ms. Wesley? And is there someone who can?
Sorry, Dr. Stevens again.
Dr. Stevens again. Busy night.
So the state of Indiana delivered a literacy grant, the competitive reading grant. And South Bend was one of the school districts that received the grant. The grant is focused on K-3 and it's focused on getting 95% of K-3 students on grade level in terms of reading. And so this incentive grant goes towards supporting those efforts and giving more professional development and also providing a stipend for K-8 teachers, interventionists, specialists, people that has something to do with improving reading at those grade levels. So it's specifically focused on the early grade levels and making sure that by the time the child is in the third grade, they're no longer learning to read, but they're reading to learn. So we were very fortunate in receiving that grant.
Any question? So have we identified the schools?
So it would be all K-8 teachers and like they do have interventionists and specialists. Anyone who is has something to do with literacy and making sure that children are reading at that specific grade level. And the Indiana Department of Education designated those grade levels.
Okay.
So that it was intentional.
I heard that part, but you said anyone that has focusing on this. Have we identified schools? Is it all of our schools?
So it's all of the schools with K-3.
K-8, okay.
And it's generally going to be teachers, though.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Ball?
Yes, Dr. Stevens, I just want some clarity. I just want to make sure because you've mentioned K-3. On the state's website, it says K-2. And in your resolution is K first, second, and it's K first and second grade. So I just want to make sure to get clarity, is it K2 or K3?
So when they first like introduced the grant, it says specifically K-3. So it included the third grade. So on Jenner's, here, I can pull it. I can actually pull it up and send it to you. And I'm not sure if they're giving us discretion to do that, but the initial focus was on K-3.
Oh, and would that be prior to 22-23 grant cycle, like a previous grant cycle? Only because I pulled up the 22-23 document, because basically y'all cut and pasted stuff right from the, the state's website into the resolution. So 22-23 says K to second. So I don't know if the K-3 is coming from somewhere else.
So I can send you the newsletter from the state superintendent. So it is in that newsletter, and it's got like, like the specifics of the grant in there.
So I'm looking at this resolution, and it says K through, unlike Mrs. Ball, it says kindergarten, first grade, and or second grade. In your comments just a minute ago, did you say K through 8?
No, if I said K through 8, that was definitely an accident.
I thought that's what you said, because I checked.
No, if I said K8, that was an
and put
accident.
K through 8.
No, so it's an early learning grant, so it's for the early grades. So that was an accident. It's definitely, and Kendra is, who did the resolution, is also listening and queuing me in. So initially, we focused on K, in the South Bend schools, we're focusing on K3. So I will get the specifics, Ms. Ball, for the previous stipulations in the grant for K2.
So I'm just curious about when, the date of the award letter, given the legislature and the piece of legislation for Senate Bill 1, Linda Rogers was included retention. And she has talked quite often about the fact that she will now, as in today, begin testing second graders to prepare them for third grade and to ensure that more kids are retained. I'll bracket any editorial comment, but I wonder if that's somewhat related. As the law has changed since last year, the award letter reflects the law as it was written or the law as it's been changed.
Well, I mean, as you know, those the addendums to the current laws move so fast and so constant that it could be an answer to that. We just know that, third grade is the grade that indicates what will happen if literacy is not on grade level. So we know that that's the grade, and that's been that way for the last 10 years. So, maybe it is, they're shifting to get that grade earlier for grade 2 to identify who the kids are, to prepare to get them on grade level for grade 3. So it could be that. And it could be that, the legislation is moving that fast.
But regardless, we're supporting teachers in the teaching of literacy K3.
And that's the intent, to support our teachers through professional development and through, just stipends to rewarding them for that effort.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just have a quick question. So I'm this is, I want to make sure I understand this. This grant is going to benefit the teachers in K through 8 to provide them resources. I'm sorry, K through 3. To provide them resources that they may need to help teach their children?
So, the grant is, you can use it for all professional development or use it to incentivize to.
Okay, because what I'm thinking is that when we get grants, it seems like most of the grant is going to hiring people or paying someone's salary. So I'm just, with the new legislation coming up where they want to hold kids back, I just want to make sure that this money is actually going to go to the kids and not to pay someone's salary or.
Yeah, so this is not going towards, okay, so it's going towards the people that are doing the work. So the K3, and I'm going to check to make sure this K3 as opposed to K2, the K3 teachers, and it's a few instructional interventionists, things like that. This grant is specifically for that staff group. So it's not to pay a person's salary, or it's not that. It's to support the people that are doing that work.
Because I'm looking at it and it says resources. So we're talking about maybe someone that's fluent in literacy to come to work with kids. That's what you're talking about. And not, is that the resources that you're referring to?
So we're focused on the people that are already here. So we wouldn't be bringing in anyone. It's focused on the people who are doing that literacy work right now.
And they're gonna select the students that are actually needing the help, and they're gonna work directly with those kids. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yes. So it is specifically to target that group for intervention or the work that they're doing to promote literacy. So, I mean, I know that there are other ways, like professional development, but we were specifically focused on supporting that group.
I just want to make sure that when we get these grants, that the grants are actually going for resources for the kids and not to pay people to come in and their salaries and whatever the case may be, that the money is actually going for resources like books or utensils or tools or whatever needs to happen for these kids to learn. And that's what I'm trying to get at,
Yes.
the focus on that.
So
This
for now, I can tell you that, you know, the part that I do know, is the stipend, the incentives for the teachers that are doing the work. That's the part that I do know. And it's a relatively small grant. It's right around $100,000. So, and that's, you know, this initial phase for us, that's what we were, given. So it's relatively small. So we thought that we would focus on the K-3 teachers.
So will we have a follow-up on, at some point, on how these kids are getting along or improving along with this grant?
So I'll have the list of who it will affect by the end of this week. So we'll have the specific list, and I can make sure that that's shared.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Hernandez, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Ms. Ball,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. McCullough,
Aye.
Ms. Wesley,
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you again, Ms. Hernandez. We have one item from closed session, and I'll turn to Dr. Cummings to explain.
And so with her becoming nearly Dr. Sarita Stevens and making sure the district is structured the way we need to be in order to cover all of our departments, I've asked the board if they would make Sarita Stevens the interim deputy superintendent this evening.
So the motion on the floor is to make Ms. Stevens, also soon to be Dr. Stevens, deputy superintendent.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Anella.
Second.
Ms. Wesley. Discussion?
My question is just, it's not a question, it's a comment. I just think that this position needs to be, it needs to have a search for this position.
Thank you.
I want to, Dr. Cummings, if I'm correct, is this this is an interim position?
What?
I'm sorry, Ms. Wesley, we're unable to hear. It's Jeff, it's not clear.
Is it an interim position?
Yes, it's an interim.
She's asking.
It's an interim position, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Mr.
Under normal situations, I'd probably be against this. But I know that we have situations going on that this person would probably assist us in trying to help. So I'm going to be in favor of it. I'm also in favor of the fact that not only will she pick up this assignment, but she's going to be continuing with 3 or 4 different other assignments. I have stated from last summer, maybe even last spring, that we had too many central office people downtown to begin with. And if we can consolidate some of these positions, which I think Dr. Stevens could do, then I'm all for it. And so I am totally in support of her getting this position as well as the other positions that she will also be assigned.
Thank you. Okay, there's no further discussion. I'll ask Ms. Hernandez to please call the roll.
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Ms. Ball,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. McCullough,
Nay.
Ms. Wesley,
Aye.
Dr. Green.
Aye. Motion passes 6-1. Congratulations, Dr. Stevens. So we'll now turn to board comments. And I would like to ask us each to limit our comments to about 10 minutes, if that's okay. I've mentioned it before. Would someone like to make some comments for some observations?
I'd like to make comments.
Yes, please, Ms. Wesley.
Yes. I'd just like to say, as always, to all of our students, our parents, the staff, administration, central office, cabinet, Dr. Cummings, special thank you for all that you do. I'm really proud. We're getting down to the stretch, almost spring break. And so, as always, I want to extend out my gratitude to everyone and all the stakeholders who support and also give constructive criticism to South Bend schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Oh, yes, and I'm sorry, Dr. Green. And I'd just like to say congratulations also to soon-to-be Dr. Sarita Stevens. Thank you so much.
Well, on Friday morning, I received a telephone call stating that there were things added to the board agenda on resolutions about Clay and resolutions on Warren schools. And I said, no, I was there when the planning took place, as well as with Mrs. Lee and Dr. Green. There was nothing like that. So I went ahead and checked the board agenda, and it had been changed. And they were added to the agenda. I couldn't believe it. Without any discussion, without any prior knowledge, something like that would ever be added to a board agenda. Then I find out tonight from our board president that the board will be able to discuss these resolutions at a prior time, and they probably will be added to the agenda later on. And so any more comment I have about that, which after I found out they were added, I had about 3 or 4 pages of notes that I was going to state. But I think I'll just wait until after we go through the procedure of having board discussion on it, and then we'll see what happens from there. An incident happened at the central office this past week. I'm not going to go into any names, but I have been given information from several sources in the central office that this person has been doing this for a long, long time of creating a problem. I'm not going to go into the whole rigmarole until it becomes more public, but this is not the first time this person got upset and made mayhem down there. And I hope it's this last. From my understanding, it looks like he will be dismissed or resigned. The only thing I want to add tonight, though.
Excuse me,
You're
Dr.
talking
Green?
personnel issues, and please stop there.
No personnel?
Everyone knows what you're talking about, who is in the
Yeah.
administration. And
Yeah.
I got one comment about it.
no, you have to stop right now.
Yes.
You you've breached the trust that we have to every employee, and we've said on the board, and I've said it to the.
I have not given out his name.
You've already.
You cannot discuss any personnel
This
matters
should come from the
right now,
president.
Mr.
Should come from
Costello,
the president,
please.
not a
This
board
is not the
member. Well, I'm trying to
platform for personnel.
Anything
Please.
should come from the president, not the board, not board members.
It doesn't matter, Mrs. McCullough. I have a right to say what is in the policy, and it's stated, no personnel
Okay.
matters are to be
Hey, I don't
discussed.
want to violate any board
Okay.
policy. I
Thank
thought
you.
if I left his name out,
No.
and talk about, a little bit about the incident, I wanted to make a point, but I guess I can't make it, so we'll stop right there.
Please, thank you.
Okay, thank
I have
you.
a comment.
And thank you for interrupting me if I was going in an area
Yeah.
that I shouldn't have.
I have a
Appreciate
comment.
it.
Well,
My
let-
last
let's-
comment tonight, I want to get back to, again, where we're at with the student code of conduct. And I'm asking a question here. Where are we with the student code of conduct? Because are we reviewing it? Are we talking about it? What's happening?
I'm happy to answer. And while I don't want to sound like I'm avoiding, because I don't have it in front of me, Ms. Key delineated all the timeline in the last board update, which I don't have in front of me. We can resend it. I'm happy to answer the question, but I don't have it in front of me. But all the timeline that includes her, the board, NEA has been sent. I can resend it.
So
But it is
we
out-
are still continuing to work on it, to change it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I need. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. Yes, Ms.
My
McCullough.
turn. I just want to say, I also had concerns and questions because I was looking at the news 57 and the resolution kept popping up there. And since it was removed and we're going to discuss it later, I'll hold my comments for that particular time. But I do want to say that I want to congratulate every team that participated in the tournaments this past weekend and congratulate them because they did an outstanding job. Outstanding job. My comment.
Thank you. Mrs. Lee. Mr. Nellis.
Yes, I just want to, first of all, thank you, Dr. Green, President Green, for removing those items, just to have more conversations, so thank you, that's appreciated. And then also didn't mention this during the communications update, but I just want to say you had me at website redesign. So thank you. Oh, my goodness. And then also to say one more time, soon to be Dr. Sarita Stevens, congratulations. You've been a calm, competent, steady force in the administration. We thank you for your service. So appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Green.
Thank you, sir. So I should add to what Mr. Costello started talking about earlier with these two resolutions. And I was on the agenda planning, on the agenda planning meeting with Mrs. Lee and Mr. Costello. Our legal team was there, and I realized by the end of the week that the board really hadn't had a full discussion. So by Friday, I had asked Dr. Cummings to please pull it from the agenda. The unfortunate part is that one newscaster who I did communicate with, and is one person who's sitting here tonight, knows fully well what my answer was. He published his article anyway, and then gave the report on VPE saying that it was on our agenda. Now, this is unfortunate because I had written that reporter. I said, this is what we're doing. We're not waiting to the board meeting to pull that agenda item. It was pulled as of Friday. And then I wrote the entire board and said it had been pulled. I think this is part of what I think is necessary. Whatever confusion was created, I apologize, or whoever contributed, that's no matter. I think that what we've tried to do now is to slow things down and to have a conversation about the resolution is really important. We've alluded to this already. The state legislature is changing the law almost in real time. They passed a law last year related to the 1%, as you know, the 1%, the $1 law. And then they changed the law. And we're simply trying to protect the interests we have in the buildings we own. And I know the resolutions were vague and confusing, and it's not surprising that it evoked the kinds of responses that I received. But we're trying to stay ahead of a law that continues to change, that reflects some interests and not necessarily South Bend Community School Corporation. So I'm sorry for that, but the fact that we're going to have the conversation is really important. Make sure everybody understands. Senate Bill 270 is really important if you want to read it yourself, Senate Bill 270. The other thing that Dr. Cummings mentioned that I want to emphasize is that we, of course, for the last year have talked about a CTE center. And executive session, we focused on that concern. A week from tonight, we'll be at Riley in the cafeteria, off a podium, at round tables, to have a conversation about what CTE means, why we have a lease agreement, what the space looks like, what it can accommodate, what programs there are, how many students will likely participate. And but the main thing is that this will become a format I hope will go into the future where we're not here, we're sitting among everyone and answering questions. So the format for next week is such that you'll get a brief presentation, there'll be tables set up, and administrators, planners, board members will be at those tables to answer questions. There'll also be an FAQ. So I hope you'll join us at that meeting, and I know you have questions, and I think we have answers. But with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting and drive safely. And again, thank you for everyone who came to the podium to share comments and concerns with the board. Good evening.